the manhunt for DAVIAN Bryan, the suspected abductor of two girls from Bath St. Thomas, intensified this morning. Head of the St. Thomas Police Division, Superintendent ALLISON BYFIELD, has confirmed that residents attacked and killed an innocent man whom they mistakenly believed was Bryan. Detectives have launched a probe into the mob killing of the unidentified man in Llandewey district in the parish. Reports from the Bath Police coming into our news center are that at approximately 7:30 a.m., residents saw the man in a section of the community and attacked and beat him. The police were summoned, and upon their arrival, the man was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Detectives theorized that the residents believed the man was DAVIAN Bryan, the man suspected of abducting 9-year-old Felix on October 14 and 13-year-old Winshea Barrett on October 16. Superintendent Byfield is urging citizens to desist from carrying out mob killings, as this is a criminal offense for which they can be arrested and charged. In the meantime, a reward has been offered for information leading to the arrest of DAVIAN Bryan, the man suspected of abducting the two girls in St. Thomas last week. The reward of 200,000 Jamaican dollars is being offered through Crime Stop Jamaica. Persons with information are being asked to contact Crime Stop at 311, the Morant Bay Police at 876-982-1027, Police Emergency 119, or the nearest police station. Meanwhile, the police continue to advise extreme caution regarding children in the parish, even as the manhunt continues for Bryan. Parents are being urged to keep children safe and to ensure that they are supervised at all times. Besides being a prime suspect in the abduction of Felisa Prussia and Winshea Barrett, he is also wanted by the Portland Police, where he has absconded bail that was granted in relation to several charges, including illegal possession of firearm and ammunition. Felisa and Winshea were both found in heavily wooded areas of the parish by search parties consisting of the police, residents, and other partner agencies. The teams continue to search the area for Bryan. Still tonight, the Jamaica Council of Churches, JCC, and other church leaders have condemned the killings of two members of the congregation at the Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries in Paradise, Montego Bay, St. James, who were slaughtered in what was reportedly a ritual. The JCC described the incident as a religious tragedy. The woman whose throat was slashed during a sacrificial ritual has been identified as 39-year-old Tanika Gordon. The male who was also killed is yet to be identified. Kevin O. Smith, the man who presided over the murderous ritual that claimed the lives of Miss Gordon and a male congregant and the injuring of others, is now in police custody along with other members of his church. In a release from the JCC, which was undersigned by President Revd Dickson, he explained that this dreadful incident understandably turns the spotlight on the place and practice of religion and faith in the life of a nation and its people, adding that true Christian faith upholds the sanctity of life based on the biblical understanding that all human beings are made in the image and likeness of God. Revd Dickson said, quote, "We denounce and condemn all forms of religious practices which exploit and endanger persons and expose them to harm or distress, as this is wholly inimical to the gospel of love, whose progenitor and exemplar is Jesus Christ, the Prince of Peace." End quote. The JCC is calling on Jamaicans to exercise critical discernment in all spheres of life, especially in spiritual and religious endeavors. As we continue with the news tonight, Leader of the opposition and President of the People's National Party, PNP, Mark Golding, hosted a post-PNP 83rd Annual Conference media press briefing where he addressed issues of national security, vaccination, and governance under the Jamaica Labour Party's leadership. Here is Kelleen May with the details.
President of the People's National Party PNP Mark Golding during yesterday's 83rd Annual Conference media post-press briefing says the crime situation is out of control as he referenced Sunday's killings of the two congregants at the Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries and the abduction of two girls in St. Thomas last week.
The crime situation continues to be out of control and seems to be getting more and more bizarre, from babies being shot dead in their bed to being abducted, little girls being abducted, to now very peculiar cult-type murders occurring. And the government has no plan or clue as to how to address this. In terms of crime and violence, we spoke to the need for a more balanced approach, a proactive approach that addresses the crime prevention and not just law enforcement. And we spoke to the need for a program like Unite for Change, a comprehensive program that addresses youths that are not gainfully employed or in any form of education, and where the temptations and pressures to go into badness and join gangs and so on need to be addressed through a comprehensive program offering mentorship, offering remedial education, offering employment and training opportunities, and so on. And we talked about appointing 500 training and hiring 500 violence interrupters across the country to help stem the tide of reprisals, which is a source of many of the murders in this country.
Mr. Golding, in his address, also pointed out the importance of the opposition's inclusion in the vaccination program, of which he claimed the Prime Minister and Her Holiness has not included them in the process.
The inclusion of the opposition in the national vaccination program is also very important, because we are a major organization in this country, a national organization that we have representatives in every nook and cranny across this country. And though I received a letter on the 1st of September from the Prime Minister indicating he wanted to be part of it, there's been no follow-up. And all of the blitzes that he's been going around the island promoting on his own or with Desmond Mackenzie, Minister Mackenzie, have excluded the opposition. We haven't been notified of them, we haven't been given any schedule of them, and our participation has been excluded. And I think that's a wrong approach on an issue like this. We're really in a war against this vaccine, and we need all hands on deck. And the National Council under the Disaster Risk Management Act should be activated and should be meeting regularly, so that the views of all major stakeholders can be brought to bear on the difficult issues that need to be resolved. And we can try and find consensus and move forward in the best interests of the country as a whole, our beloved island, Jamaica.
Mr. Golding further shared his views on the effectiveness of the lockdowns as a means to slow the spread of the COVID-19 virus.
I find the concept of the lockdown difficult to fathom. I'm not convinced that it really achieves any particular objective, and I'm against rules that encourage bungling of persons or congestion. And we know, for example, that the curfew adjustments of the past and what have you have often led to transportation centers being congested in the run-up or in the lead up to the shortened time frame that people have to get home before curfew. These things really need to be rethought. And so, I'm glad that the lockdown has been limited to 1 day a week. But I do think that needs further adjustment. I'm not sure we need to do that. I think we can just continue to have strong messaging around wearing masks, not getting up in each other's face. If we gather within reasonable limits set by the law, and try to avoid gathering indoors. Even here, as you see, we've opened up the place as much as we can to allow the free flow of air, because it is well recognized that enclosed spaces are more conducive to the spread of the virus. So I think common sense messaging and conduct and examples being set by those of us who are in leadership positions, not just politicians, but the churches, they have a major role to play. And I encourage our churches, some of whom have already got on mission of trying to encourage vaccination. For those who have not yet done so, I would encourage them to do so.
Reporting for Mellow TV News, I'm Colleen May.
Thank you, Colleen, for that report. 51-year-old Fitzroy Douglas Gardner of Bellevue Drive, Kingston 19, has been missing since October 17. He is of brown complexion, medium build, and approximately 5 feet 10 inches tall. Reports from the Constant Spring Police coming into our news center are that Douglas was last seen at home at approximately 7 p.m. wearing a light blue shirt and a pair of blue jeans. Efforts to contact him have proven futile. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Fitzroy Douglas is being asked to contact the Constant Spring Police at 876-924-1421, Police Emergency 119, or the nearest police station. As we continue with the news tonight, 37-year-old Ceres Edwards, bartender of Sugar Way, Old Harbor, St. Catherine, has been missing since October 11. She is of dark complexion, medium build, and approximately 5 feet 8 inches tall. Reports from the Old Harbor Police coming into our news center are that Edwards was last seen at home at approximately 9:35 a.m. wearing a pink blouse, leopard print shorts, and a pair of black slippers. Efforts to contact her have proven futile. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Ceres Edwards is being asked to contact the Old Harbor Police at 876-983-2255, Police Emergency 119, or the nearest police station. In tonight's COVID-19 update, Jamaica recorded 56 new COVID-19 cases and 6 additional deaths, increasing the total of confirmed cases to 87,723 and the death toll from the virus now to 2,129. According to the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the deaths occurred between September 30 and October 18. 3 of the deaths were recorded in St. Catherine, 2 women aged 75 and 76, as well as a 61-year-old man, a 59-year-old woman from St. James, an 88-year-old woman from Clarendon, and a 55-year-old man from St. Thomas. Now, of the newly reported cases, there were 32 females and 24 males, ranging in age from 8 months to 96 years. In tonight's COVID-19 parish breakdown, Kingston and St. Andrew recorded 19 cases, St. Catherine recorded 9 cases, Trelawney and St. Mary recorded 7 cases each, Portland recorded 4 cases, St. James recorded 3 cases, St. Thomas and Hanover recorded 2 cases each, while Clarendon, Manchester and Westmoreland recorded 1 case each. The country also recorded 119 recoveries, increasing the total of recovered persons now to 55,946. Still tonight, Patsy Edwards Henry has been re-elected President of the Nurses Association of Jamaica, NAJ, for the 2nd consecutive time. Speaking at the annual general meeting of the association in Kingston after her re-election, Edwards Henry cited how difficult last year was for her at times as head of the NAJ and expressed gratitude for her return as president as she champions the many causes of the nurses.
NAJ as a voice to lead was hyped during the period. I spoke on almost every radio station on matters relating to nurses and nursing, from the most popular ones to some who I never heard of before. But they taught me to speak, they taught to be silent at times, and it was a good experience. At the beginning of the conference year, we set out to recruit 300 new members, and as at October 6, as reported by my membership chair, Ms. Latar Barker, we had recruited and signed up 284 new members. And even as we speak, there are application forms in the office waiting to be processed. So I do believe we have achieved our 300 mark.
Mrs. Edwards-Henry explained that the approval of the patient-to-nurse ratio was one of the year's greatest accomplishments.
One of our greatest accomplishments throughout the year, I must say, is the approval of the nurse-patient ratio research, which has been ongoing for quite a number of years. It took a lot to get it going, and I must say kudos to Mrs. Sandra Chisholm Ford. A number of letters were written back and forth, and we finally got the approval. And it is our hope that we can press forward in the new year to continue and get the results so that when we go to sit at the table, as the nurses that we are, we will have the empirical evidence to prove why it is important to have a nurse-patient ratio here in Jamaica. So as at now, throughout the year, we have acquired more than 12 houses and service slots for our members. We do have some other houses and service slots which we had mentioned, and it is my hope that we will be able to utilize them, that do not lose the benefit. We continue to offer scholarships and grants for our nurses and the children of nurses, and as we had discussed this morning, we have submitted 20 nurses and 8 children, 4 grants, and 5 nurses are currently receiving scholarships, compliments of the negotiation of the Nurses Association of Jamaica.
The NAJ's president said that the nurses are tired of lip service. They need to see action from the government.
We explained to them that the nurses of Jamaica want to be a part of the 2030 vision. And to be a part of that vision, we must be able to have enough to raise our children, to live. So we must have our own homes. So in order to make this a place, to be in a place where we're able to raise children, have homes, do business, then the government of Jamaica will have to step up to the plate and do what they need to do for the nurses. We have told them that we are tired of lip service, because everywhere we go, we hear how great the nurses are. Now we need to see and feel how great the nurses are.
And that's our news package for you tonight. Thank you for tuning in to Mellow TV Evening News at 8. I am Shelly Ann Hill. Do stay safe and pleasant viewing.